We're leaving Brazil in 3 days. That's I still can't believe. It still doesn't feel true, but it's true.
Yes, that's right. After a year and a half sailing the Brazilian coast, in just a few days we are gonna embark on our biggest challenge yet. A 15 days passage from Brazil to the Caribbean. But first we have a few last items to cross off our to-do list. I'm Roberta.
And I'm Duca.
And after 2 years bringing this sailboat that was neglected for over 22 years back to life, it's finally time to start exploring.
So don't forget to subscribe and to join us every Sunday for a new episode.
If you didn't watch our last episode, we got the opportunity to visit a few boat yards in Europe and to see in person some of our dream boats. But in just a snap of fingers...
And just like this, we are back on the boat.
Hey everybody.
Oh, there's a... Yeah, this guy just show up here. We have no idea who he is.
I've just been in the bilge for the past 6 months.
Yeah, so we need to present you Ben. This is the guy that's gonna spend like close to a month with us. We met Ben a year ago on the Annapolis Boat Show. He was working at Annapolis Boat Show at the Amel booth. We went to check the Amel 50 and there was Ben. We talked for like 15 minutes, like, yeah, we like this guy.
Hey everyone, my name is Ben. I'm from the United States and I've been working as an educator and sailor for the past like 3 or 4 years. I just love sailing and I'm super stoked to be here on Odd and really excited for this passage.
So basically now we're trying to get the boat back together since we just arrived from Europe yesterday, and this week we have a lot of work to do because we have a lot of little things to get ready for the crossing, and hopefully in 7 to 10 days we are off the yacht club. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
We are off of Brazil!
This is the last port in Brazil. We're just gonna leave here and go straight to the Caribbean. That means 200 nautical miles. Let's get back to work. We have a lot to do.
What's going on over here?
We need to finish a project. This was the last piece of the puzzle and we just got on Amsterdam. So the way this track is gonna work, in order to control how high you want the track, we're gonna have a block on the top and we're gonna have a cleat on the bottom. So you have a control line from the bottom, come to this cleat, and from the top going to the block down, and we can control how high we want this spinnaker pole. This is actually a really cool block. I didn't realize that until I opened and it's like, bang. It's actually a metal block covered with plastic. Can you pass me the line?
Yeah. We have the New York Stock Exchange mallet. Definitely what this was created for.
Now that we have like this dry feed in place, we're gonna just create the line because we need to check how we're gonna do it with. So this is gonna go up, for example, and we can so we can hold the car in place like this.
Nice.
So this is in place, but now we need to have a line coming from here to this cleat also. So now this is gonna pull down.
Seems pretty good.
So this would be like this. This would be just a continuous line.
Yeah.
We're basically gonna sail like 15 days downwind, straight downwind. That's all we're gonna do. So this is gonna be really, it seems like just a small task, but this is gonna be really important for this sail. The last thing we need to do today is to get these stainless steel bolts, and we need to apply thread locks in order for them to not get loose, and also we need to apply some tough gel in between the cleat, that's aluminum, and the bolt, otherwise we're gonna have electrolysis. But we don't need to see that because we've seen that many times before. We can count this as check. What do you say?
I'm gonna see it for the first time.
We can consider this done for today, so it's one last thing that we need to do before we set sail. Good first day.
Easy job, just installing a frame.
Some people might say that this is not necessary for the trip, but it is because we need to store this somehow.
How many sailors does it take to install a frame? We need one to film it, right?
Yeah.
So.
By the way, this is from Taj from Sailing Catalpa. He's gifted us this beautiful painting, and he's just an awesome artist, and I love it. Darling, thanks so much. Yeah, Darling painted this. I mean, Elizabeth painted this. That's odd, by the way.
That's odd.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. I think it's just really awesome because we looked at that and we not only think it's a good painting, but we also remember of our friends that did that for us. Both of the paintings are made by our friends. And now at least it's not, you know, flying around the boat while we go on a crossing. We have in a place that we know is gonna be safe and you're not gonna ruin the paintings.
So coming next.
Guys, thanks so much, we really appreciate it. Next, tracking system from PredictWind. We're gonna have that on the stern of the boat, and then we need to wire to the boat, and our patrons are gonna be able to see where we are and how is the wind, where we are in all the situations of the boat in real time. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Talking about patrons, Titus, welcome to our patron family. And Mrs. X Production, thanks so much for the PayPal donation. Sorry for the interruption. Let's go back to the episode.
Yeah, and also our friend that's helping us on the crossing, you guys know already, Giovanni, he's a meteorologist and he's helping us to, you know, to predict the wind and also to get the correct route that we can sail most of the time instead of motoring and avoid storms. And you know, this is gonna make easier for him to know where we are and help us and send us messages. I think it's gonna be awesome. Oh, and also we can send messages every day to our patrons through this.
We're heading out into the Isife midday sun to install this iridium. It's hot.
This is basically a GPS antenna, and that means that in order to have a good signal, need to be free to the sky. We might even install here. It's not the best position. It's gonna be a little bit annoying, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. At least we're gonna have good signal. That's the idea.
A little bit of electric work, but pretty limited to just like crimping things on and running wires, simple stuff. Yuka's teaching me a lot and I'm excited to learn. What's the word for zip ties in Portuguese?
There's tons of it. It's funny that there's so many different words. I always use Heliman. I think it's the guy that invented. But you can say língua de sogra, you can say enforca gato, that means strangle cat. Yeah, that's the translation. It's like so for you guys might be easier to understand. For Ben, he's never seen this one before because we run wires for you guys here so many times before. Ben actually don't watch our videos. So the way it goes from inside the outside locker,
okay,
there's a hole and comes through here, and then from here goes all the way to the nav station on the back.
Where's the hole? Okay, cool. So just you have it like zip tied or secured back there all the way
no,
to the
it's covered with wood. It's just like a shaft. It's like a electrical shaft, so it just covered the front. And that means maybe we have we have a lot of organizing to do in order to do that. Let's start on the nav station and make our way here. So this panel here is pretty much done, so it's like fairly organized.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I did that myself. That's mine. For now we need to run the wire from here all the way there, so we start with 2 wires. So this is already heat shrink, but when you press this, sometimes you cut the ring, so that's why I put another one here just in case. And the more we seal this, the better, because here's a kind of humid area.
Nice, looks good.
You.
Okay, sweet. So the wires have been run. We brought them through the hatch, down across the port side of the boat. This little electrical, I'm sure y'all have seen this before, but I haven't. It's a little electrical hideaway with these panels close up and hide the wires, and this hole leads all the way, boom, to our control panel at the navigation station. As you can see, these wires are coming out, a little Halloween theme going on here, coming out right there, and I'm not sure where they'll end up. You know where they're gonna go?
I have no idea. It's all on Duca's head.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. We're gonna try to go to the gym. All my friends said that it's really good, so we're gonna try this out.
Yeah, let's do it.
For now the tracker is installed, we have energy. We just need to create a little label to know that this microwave is not a microwave, this microwave is actually the tracker. We are also going to install this hub, and that's because we want to try to actually have on the tracker all the NIMEA 2000 information. That means the speed of the boat, the angle of the wind, the true wind, the apparent wind, and everything together. And for that, we're going to install this little hub. It's a tracking device that you can connect to the NIMEA 2000 network, and you can log all the data from the NIMEA. You can create a Wi-Fi network with this, and you can use the internet of the, could be a Starlink, could be the Iridium Go, and you can transfer all the data that you have from the boat to anywhere else in the world. And you can even remote access the boat if you need to fix something and you know someone that has information of the network, and they can connect to your NIMEA 2000 network from far away, and that's really, really cool. That's the antenna that we're not going to install. In a metal boat, the antenna is not going to work inside the boat. And also, you could install a NIMEA 2000 cable and use the GPS antenna that is on the NIMEA 2000 network. I'm not sure if our GPS antenna is going to be on the network because it's installed on the AIS, but I believe it might be possible for it to show. We'll see. I'm going to try. I'll give it a try, and if it doesn't work, we need a new antenna for this later. Power cable. What we need to do with this power cable, it's really simple, just cut it off. It's 110, but we can install on 12 volts. We just cut and install direct to the battery. It's gonna be fine, hopefully. Oh, I just did a mistake. It's fine. It'll be fine, don't worry, it's gonna be fine. I just need to connect the rub to the NIMEA 2000 cable. Then we're going to install the Iridium Go on a support right on the nav station, so it's easier to always be in the same spot, and we can have like the wire already running behind the panel, just so I can have always connected the Iridium, and I can register everything, and I can get this running. So now the Iridium is pretty much installed in place right here. The antenna is already in place. We need to find a way of charging the Iridium. The way I'm going to do is I'm going to send this wire, this USB wire, to the back, and I'm gonna install one of these USB chargers inside the panel, so I don't need to have the wire around, so the wire is gonna always be connected, and I think it's gonna be easier. This has a fuse, so it's safe and it's always connected, and we won't see any wire. I think it's gonna be much cleaner for the nav station. I'm also gonna replace this one. These new ones that we bought, there is USB-C that's gonna charge much faster.
Charging.
This is the Iridium antenna, and I didn't know, but you need to have free connection to the sky. So I think we're going to transfer this from here to here, and this from here to here, and both antennas are going to be here. I don't think it's the best place, like you can hit there, but it is what it is. We don't have another support. Maybe in the future we can create a support to the side and put them on the side, but for now we need to leave in 7 days, so sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I think I'm gonna clap my finger and show you ready, because it's just too boring to see me cutting things and just bolting. It's just done. Check it out. Beautiful. Just so you understand, this is the tracking antenna. This is what's gonna make it possible to track our boat even when our Iridium plan is not working, because Iridium, we don't want to have Iridium 12 months a year because it's too expensive, so we're only gonna have the Iridium working when we go on crossings, on longer passages. So this is the substitute for the Iridium just to track our boat. This is the external antenna for the Iridium, so we want to have both working, and then we just shut this off temporarily. We work on this one that we cannot call, but we can show our family where we are, and that's really good, and we also can show our patrons where we are, and it's really cool. Now we need just to try to activate everything and see if it works and test the system. Supposedly everything is right. Now it's just a matter of going to the internet, activating, and of course paying the plan.
Nice.
That's all right. Next step on getting the boat ready to leave Brazil, we need to install some new lines, and we're going to start by the easiest one, the flag. You start easy and you grow, and eventually you finish the fishing boat. Kids, don't do that at home. I'm supposed to have a harnesses, but it's gonna be quick.
Quick and dirty.
I used to be a gymnast, it's fine.
Oh no!
I always lose things. Always.
No, I saw that jump out of your hand. That wasn't you.
Let's raise the yellow flag for the first time. That's pretty tight. It's a win.
Everyone should look at and admire at my first ever needle whipping right there. Thanks, Duca, for teaching me how.
You think?
It was pretty easy. I would say on a difficulty scale, 2 out of 10. 3?
Two.
I guess, okay, 2 if you have ever done hand whippings before, and then have also done needle work.
Yeah.
If you've never touched whipping line before, probably like a 7.
Yeah, but you don't think me, you think Rigging Doctor.
Okay.
There's a channel called Rigging Doctor that everything I know about splicing, I always go to his channel, that's all. And
Okay.
we just met in Annapolis this year for the first time.
Nice.
So he's a good friend now.
Shout out Rigging Doctor.
So the vision is that we want to use the spinnaker pole on the same spot. You know, we want to be able to control where the spinnaker pole is. So I think we're gonna have the lifting straight on the tip, and then we're gonna have one on the tip down to the bow, one to the stern of the boat, so we can control and can locate exactly how high we want and the exact position of the spinnaker pole. So let's do the control line first. That's gonna be the line that's gonna lift up and down the spinnaker pole on the track, and then we do the top lifting, and then we do the forward and back on the bottom. Sounds good?
We are traveling 9 weeks, so it's time for me to organize all the medicines. Lucas is studying. How is the study going?
I'm just checking a different route right now. There's nothing to do with what we're gonna do. It's just amazing to see these, you know, work cruising routes. You just keep dreaming and dreaming, so it's good to just keep studying routes.
We have a week to organize everything, and you're just enjoying traveling?
Yes, of course. Why not?
Okay, so I need to organize everything here. I'm gonna divide in little bags. These 3 are for allergies, so I'm gonna put them here, and I'm gonna write down what it's for, so it's easier when you need it. And I'm gonna do the same with all the medicine we have. We still don't have everything here. Still need to buy the ones with the doctor prescription. I don't know if you guys remember, but one step of our preparation to go from Brazil to the Caribbean was a first aid course with our friend and Dr. Fabi.
Good morning. I just finished doing the, you know, I don't know how to call that, whipping? Yeah, the whipping of our control lines for the spinnaker pole, and after a year working on the spinnaker pole, we finally have a spinnaker pole. You brought us luck. And Roberto is doing some laundry, and now I'm really curious to check the tension on our backstay, because I think we should tension a little bit more. We're going to study before we do anything. This is a manual from Seldom, that's a messing company, telling you step by step on how to trim each kind of mess. So we need to find a similar mess to ours. We have 3 spreaders, a straight spreader, and we have a Solent. So this is the closest we can get. That's a mess head, multiple spreaders rig, inline spreaders, forward and after lower shrouds, alternatively with a babe stay and a aft lower shroud. That's our mess. So we need to have 15% of the braking load on the backstays and 15% of the braking load on the cap shrouds. That means the top stays on the side. So we're like 41, and 41 to a 10 millimeters would be 8%. We should get to like, I would say like 48. So we are like 15%. So that's actually the right tension. We have the right, that's like 15%. According to Seldom manual, we should have at least 15, no more than 30, but 15 is good. Like if you want to race, you just put more pressure. We're gonna come back to this subject sometime this week. It's just a mess. We have a lot of things to do and we have 6 days to go. Unbelievable. After 1 hour of work, we found out that we bought this as a metric system. So all the measurements are in metric system. So 7 millimeters stay, 8 millimeters, 9 millimeters, 10 millimeters. And the reason for that is because we're in Brazil and we do use stays in millimeters. But none of these holes go through, because in order to know which stay you're measuring, you have this, you know, thing that you put the stay in and you can read the dimension of the stay. None of these go through, and we just measure with this. That's really precise, and they're exactly the right measurement. That's exactly 7. That's 10.
I can't believe they did that. That's crazy.
How do they do that? And then we I also measured this diameter with this, and shows that we actually have a metric sticker here with all the dimensions in metric, but the plate, they use the imperial one. That's just probably a lot of people have the same problem. I hope not. Well, that means we now can use the tensioner, but we cannot consider this measurement. You just need to forget about that. It means we have the backstay on the right tension already. We just need to see the rest.
Every project starts the same way. Digging for tools.
Always. Yeah, so pretty much what I did up there is just to lose the little caps on the end of the shrouds, because we just have a little cap that's bolted in place, and in this way they stay one slide properly. Now that it's loose, we can lose it up, they stays, and we can tune up the rig, and then I go back up, I screw back in place, and I put the little cap. Otherwise it's gonna rip the sail because it's really sharp. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Today is Sunday. I just finished one video. Duke is playing no. Duke? Ben is playing guitar. Duke is working on the ladder. So Ben is gonna try Oakberry, acai for his first time. Duke doesn't like it.
Yeah. I don't know what it tastes like, but I like it. That's all I know.
I love it. Duke is gonna have the yogurt.
Cheers.
So here we have the Dorade box, but for this trip, as it's a long trip and we might get water through the Dorades, because lately, I don't know, the drainage is not good enough and we're getting some salt water on the boat, we're gonna close the Dorades just to make sure. And the way to do that is by putting a cover on the top and bolting this in place, and then we have no way of water coming in the boat. And Ben right now is on the other side. He just took off the Dorade itself, and now he's gonna pass me the cover, and I'm gonna bolt in place to see if it works.
Alright, cover's going in place.
So now there's no way we get salt water from waves inside the boat. That's pretty good. The only one I'm gonna leave is the one on the stern of the boat, because we never got water there because it's all the way back and the waves won't crash there, so it's fine. So that's the condition in the outside, and now there's no way water will go in. Also, we're gonna take the Dorade off, because as we are not using, why leave here and break with a sheet, you know, get tangled in a line, and then we just break the Dorade without any necessity. So we're gonna put inside to store. Good. Next step now is to try to create a preventer for the boom, because so far we never used a preventer on this boom. That's a Dyneema loop with a low friction ring that we're gonna attach. We can consider the preventer done. I think now we need to finish the stays that we almost finished yesterday. By the way, we didn't film. We loosened up every single stay other than the forward stays, and we tried to trim the mess, and I think the mess looks so much straighter now. We just need to give it the less tuning, and we're gonna lock the stays, the turnbuckles in place so they don't turn, and we're good to go. Good morning.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna work on trying, hopefully I can do that today, to activate our Iridium. So what we need to do now is to try to go to the website and try to activate the plans. I did buy many SIM cards, and the reason for that is because I don't need to keep paying Iridium every single month. We're just going to use Iridium on big crossings or passages, and that means we are going to activate now. In a month from now we just cancel, and then we can have other SIM cards for the future when we want to cross the Atlantic, for example. So let's try to do this now and hope for the best. It's working. Smart Luca version. Yeah, so basically I need to try to see the numbers on this tiny little ship, because I need to add to the website. The way I activate the Iridium is I need the email number from the device. I put here, I have the number on the ship, I'll put there, and then supposedly I'll activate. Let's see if I can see these tiny little numbers. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I just did a phone call to Ben from the middle of the ocean, supposedly. Message is working. I already sent a message. I already received a message. I already called Ben. Now all I need to do is to try to download weather from Iridium, and I'm gonna try to do that right now. There's a video from a channel called Ryan and Sophie. They just have a really technical video on how to properly download on Predictwin weather through Iridium, and I think that's the best video. I can link down the description of this video because that's what I'm gonna use. According to him, we should be waiting now around 45 minutes. It shows we have good signal on the antenna, and that's really good. And we are trying to download the grid file so we can have forecast for the next days. Of course, right now we could download on our internet, but we need to test before we go offshore, just to make sure we have water while we are offshore. I'm lazy. My English is just broken today.
1 minute and 20 seconds in, so we have
I think we
some
just
waiting
leave.
to do.
Yeah, we just leave there. Oh, what are you cooking there?
Nothing.
I see someone cooking some candy there.
Smells really good.
Yeah, I think it's brigadeiro.
I don't know what it is,
Here.
but it's gonna be tasty because it's Brazilian.
Finally! We should have done this a long time ago. Yeah, this last step was completely loose. It was dangerous if you step on the edge, it would just flip. So now it's like, won't go anywhere.
Thanks, babe.
One last thing to do.
One last thing on the list of 50 things to do.
Yeah, 3 days. 3 days we're out. We've been saying that for a long time, and at one point becomes a reality.
Yeah.
We're leaving Brazil in 3 days. That's I still can't believe. It still doesn't feel true, but it's true.
The plan is to finish trimming the mast today, they said.
Yeah, the first
We
thing
got
I'm just
all day.
yeah, we're just gonna do some measurements first and see if the trimming we did like 2 days ago, if it still hold it. That's like 15%. This one is good.
I need to replace the flag that's falling apart.
So basically what we're trying to do is to loosen up the same amount of turns in one side and tie it up on the other side. So that means we don't change the tension on the stay, we just move the mess. So I'm just making sure we have the same tension still on both sides.
Did you finish trimming?
Yeah. We already finished trimming the mast. Now we're just putting these little clamps just to hold the turnbuckles in place and make sure it won't turn. And then we're just gonna tie some autofusion tape around so we don't get hurt because this is really sharp. And tomorrow I'm gonna go up the mast just to make sure we check and do an inspection of the whole mast, because right now it's too dark, so it doesn't make sense to do it now. I'm gonna do it tomorrow, and then the rigging is done for the crossing.
Yay!
We might be able to use this on the video because no one's gonna recognize the song.
It'll get better.